All right, welcome back, guys. We're here with Coach Jack Brooks from La Habra High School. We're also here with a couple of partners. We got Nick Siaka. Nick, how are you?
Good, Alex. How you doing, buddy?
Good. We also got TJ Wilcoxon.
Hey, Al. How you doing? Hey, Coach.
I'm doing well.
Coach.
So, Coach, thanks for joining us. We wanted to pick your brain a little bit. So you won it all in 2021, and you're starting your fourth year at La Habra High School here. That sounds like a good start to a coaching gig. But first question is, tell us a little bit about your baseball and your coaching journey, kind of where you learned the game, where you were at before La Habra, and how you kind of ended up at La Habra.
Thanks. Well, thanks, Nick, TJ, Alex, for having me on. And, I appreciate you guys' time. But, baseball is a big part of, my family and kind of what we've done our whole life. I grew up in the city of La Mirada. I was fortunate to play underneath my father at La Mirada High School. Had some success there. We won a CIF title his first year as a head coach. My first year playing underneath him. And then my senior year, we lost in the finals at Angel Stadium at Damien High School. And then from there, I went to Loyola Marymount, played under Frank Cruz, had some really good assistant coaches there, Coach Eldridge, Coach Gill. And then from there, I was done playing at Loyola in 2001. I came back home. I spent 1 year coaching with my dad at La Mirada. And then, I wasn't sure if I wanted to get into teaching, but I got hired at Norwalk High School as a teacher. And this was before you had to have all your credentials and all that. They could just kind of hire you off the street with a degree. And so from there, man, I kind of just fell in love. I fell back in love with the game. And I got to have my own team for the first time, kind of be around some young kids. And, it's kind of all over from that. I kind of knew that's what I wanted to do the rest of my life. And I've been at a few different high schools. I've been at Norwalk High School and John Glenn High School. Some really gritty communities, but some just great kids and some great families. And, I loved coaching there and being around those that type of tough, grinder type kid. And then I spent 6 years at Cerritos College, coaching with Coach Gaylord. I got to coach a couple years with Coach Kincaid, the legend over at Cerritos College. And then, I came back to the high school game at John Glenn, and then I ended up at La Habra High School. I always thought La Habra was kind of a sleeping giant. I always thought they should be better in baseball, especially in the later 2000s or mid 2000s. When they were struggling, I always kind of watched them from afar because I grew up in the La Mirada, La Habra community, and then the job popped open, and I took a shot at it. I really didn't know anybody, and kind of the rest is history.
That's awesome. Sounds like it all worked out so far.
Yeah, it's been a great journey.
Very cool. Speaking of it working out, so getting back to the 2021 CIF championship, that must have been amazing. I went back and read the article, kind of the recap of that game. And this is something me and my buddies always talk about. And it's kind of a dying art, but I read a quote in the article that you said the bunt game kind of blew the inning open.
Yeah.
So, the higher you go, the less you see of it. Stealing bases is kind of a dying art, and bunting and, moving the runner over and hit and run. Tell me, I think I know the answer, but tell me the importance of the bunt game and the small ball at the high school level.
Well, look, guys like, I know Nick and TJ are big baseball guys, but look, high school baseball is like when baseball is how it was supposed to be played. There's not home runs in high school. There's not guys that are hitting double-digit home runs. It's just not a home run game. When they change the bats, and so high school baseball to me is about putting the ball in play. Is about not striking out. It's about moving guys over, stealing bases, and bunting. If you kind of my mantra, if we're able to bunt in field bunts, we're going to be okay. Just by doing those two things. But yeah, man, that's why I love high school baseball. It's pure baseball, old school baseball. where, you're doing things that they taught when we grew up, and how you guys probably grew up, learning the game. I mean, now baseball is so much different, especially big league baseball. Everything's based around the home run. No one cares about strikeouts. But high school baseball, there's no home runs. I mean, you don't have 2, 3, 4 home runs a game. So when you don't have a ton of extra base hits, the little things matter, like getting the bunts down, being able to drag bunt, being able to push bunt, the hit and run, hitting behind a runner, stuff like that. It's a different style game. I know some fans get frustrated when guys are bunting in early in the game, but it's not big league baseball. It's not college baseball. It's if you want to win, you got to play kind of an old school style baseball. Even big time programs, you go watch Jay Serra or Orange and Lutheran playing the playoffs when it really, they're bunting and stuff early in the game because it's high school baseball. It's not pro baseball. It's a different style of game.
Awesome. That's kind of what I was expecting, but I wanted to hear it. So thank you. I appreciate it. I also read later that year you had the opportunity to coach the Orange County AllStar game, head coach of the North.
Yeah.
And you came out on top on that one too. When I coached, we did a little thing where the Golden West League All-Stars played the Garden Grove All-Stars.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was awesome. Just getting to coach some different kids, different personalities, getting to coach with other coaches around the league. So that must have been a thrill for you. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the kind of reward with that Orange County All-Star game put on by I think it's the
Kiwanis?
The Kiwanis.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they asked me the following year. It wasn't the year I won it. It was the following season.
Okay.
But that was great. I mean, being around some really, really good players. We won the game not because of me. We didn't have a practice. I showed up, and my whole thing was to make sure everyone got at least in at bat, and all the pitchers got an inning. But that was a great experience. I was able to bring on Coach Coach Stein, who was retiring that year from Yorba Linda. So it was cool to have him go out that year. And then Coach Alati over at Sonora helped me out. And then other game that you're talking about, the League All-Star game. Yeah, the Freeway League. I think they do play the Garden Grove League.
They do now, yeah. I don't think Orange does it anymore, so they might, yeah.
Yeah, but that's a cool. The kids love that. The kids really love that because all the league kids get to play together and they all know each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really cool experience too. But the Kiwanis thing was great. They do a great job. A guy named Joe Dale puts that on. He's been doing it for years. He has every program since the start of it still. I mean, that he's a legend. Joe Dale, man. If you ever get a chance to interview him or meet him, dude, talk about like an encyclopedia of Orange County baseball. He's the man. Joe Dale.
Definitely. All right. I appreciate it. Nick, what do you got, buddy?
Coach, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
No, thanks, Nick. Thank you.
All right. So 2021, you won CIF and state. And the following year, you had 5 freshmen on your team, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
What went into that thought process? Was it there wasn't a lot of returners, but your freshmen came in, they had some good playing time. What went into that? I was impressed, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, you know what? It wasn't how we were so senior heavy, the year that we won it. And I knew the next year, I knew we had a really, really good group coming in. I knew we had some freshmen that were going to have a chance, and we had our center fielder went down. He broke his hand early in the season. That opened the door for one of the young guys. And then, we had a couple freshman arms that were just, the better arms I had. And, the way I run the program is I don't really look at year, it's if you're ready to go and, I think you give us the best chance to win, you're going to get the shot. Now, is it something I want to do, ever again, playing that many freshmen? Probably not. But it was a situation where those kids were pretty talented. We had a kid, Maddox Moreno, play right field, who was arguably our best player. We started a freshman behind the plate who had a great year. They both hit 300 as freshmen.
Uh-huh.
we had to throw a few guys there by fire because of injury as well.
Sure. Speaking of Maddox, he's a bloodliner athlete with
Yeah.
And he comes from a bloodline from Habra.
Mm-hmm.
His grandpa played there. His dad, who I played with, had the pleasure of playing with, who was a very good athlete in his own right. Can you give us a little bit more on Maddox?
Yeah, I would love to. I mean, Maddox is a stud. I've known Maddox for a while since I got to coach him when he was younger, but he's really developing. He's passionate. He competes. He's a two-way guy. He'll be a two-way guy for us. He's a really, really good defensive outfielder. He was a guy that I was really surprised how well he did offensively last year. I mean, he led our team in hitting almost the whole year. He closed out some big games for us.
I was out at the Sonora game.
Yeah, well, he had the game when he hit down the line. I mean, and he's going to be something special here. I think he's going to be, a chance to commit early. You obviously know his father. His father's a pretty physical guy. I think Maddox is going to, he's already a good size sophomore.
Sure.
But the thing about Maddox is he competes. He really competes, and that's what I really enjoy watching. But he's going to be a kid that everybody should have their eye on here in the next few years.
Well, and the other thing, he excels in the classroom.
Oh yeah, he's a natural student, and that's something that is a gift. Where if you're like me who struggled, and Maddox is just naturally good in the classroom. He's a bright kid, and he just he works hard. I don't want to act like he doesn't, but he's a bright kid, and that he excels in there. All honors classes.
Yeah, 4.0. That's
yeah.
Impressive. So my last question for you, I had a chance to go up to your tryout the other day, and you got some dudes out there.
Yeah.
And what's the future look like for the Highlanders? Being an ex-Highlander myself, of course.
No, I know the Seahawk name was one of the first names I heard when I got hired. And your nephew Cole Seahawk, I don't know, was probably I've been coach. This is my 19th year. I mean, Cole is probably the best defensive first baseman that I've ever been around. He could really play some first base. But we're going to be good. I mean, this year we're still going to be young. We had coming off that CF title year, we lost everybody. We played a lot of seniors, and obviously we played a lot of young guys, but we did play a lot of juniors, and we have a lot of guys with playing experience this year. I think we'll be much better this year, and then I think as the next 2 or 3, 4 years, I mean, we should really be able to compete with anybody in Southern California. I think we have that type of talent. 26-wise,
who would you say is on the radar?
We have some really good 26s. We have 2 twins, the Harlow boys. We have a bunch of kids playing football that are going to be, and the cool thing about this 26 group is we have a lot of two-way guys, which I love. It's kind of old school. Where we have 10 freshman baseball players playing freshman football, that I haven't had that since I first started coaching 15, 16 years ago. But our 26, I don't want to pump up these freshmen too much, Nate, but these freshmen are going to be really good. We have the quarterback of the freshman team named Bobby Fierro is going to be a really good player. A kid named Nico DeCorte, who's going to be a dynamic little infielder, outfielder. I mean, we have a kid named Angel Acuna, right-handed pitcher, who's, ranked the perfect game, one of the top 14-year-old pitchers, and whatever that means, whatever the perfect game stuff means. But, it's going to be fun the next few years. I'm blessed with the 25s and the 26s, and then, all the kids we have in the program. It's going to be
fantastic. I'm glad you brought up the two-way sport athletes, because the three of us talk about it all the time, the importance of playing multiple sports and how it helps in other sports. I mean, there's so many things that go on in football that translates to baseball. And basketball to baseball, baseball to basketball. So,
well, it gives you a break from the sport too.
Sure. No, yeah, TJ, it lets your body, I mean, you guys are all baseball guys, and we all played at a high level. I mean, the mental, it allows your brain to turn off but you still compete, you compete, I don't know if, the way you compete in football or basketball, it's different, but I mean, you still compete in the way your body moves. I mean, but I wish it was back how it was, but it's so difficult to play two varsity sports now. I mean, they make it so hard. It's unfortunate for the kids that they don't get to experience it the way we did.
Sure.
Yeah.
DJ, it's all you, buddy.
Hey, yeah. I want to start with going with the Highlander theme here. Nick's being a little humble, but he broke the home run record at La Habra, 1990?
It was a long time ago.
No, yeah, that Seahawk name is pretty well known around town, man.
I think it stood up for a few years.
I know Nick and his brother, and then I was but you know what? And I have Connor in the program right now, but they are fantastic human beings, man. Cole and Connor, who I've had, are just fantastic kids, great students, and then obviously Nick and his brother, and they've been great to me, and they're great baseball minds, and it's great to have them that family supporting the program.
Yeah.
All right,
awesome.
enough about Siaka. What do you got, TJ?
Hey, real quick before I got two questions on
Make sure you tell his brother that too.
Yeah, right.
We'll edit it.
the evolution of a couple things, but real quick at La Habra, is it open? If someone lives in Orange, can they go to La Habra?
Yeah, they can. And that's basically and that's another thing. I mean, we could talk for hours about this, about how, but it's an open enrollment, but they do have to get released from their district, and they do have to want to come to La Habra, not for sports. They have to want to come to La Habra for an academic program that their district might not offer.
Right.
So they're, they can't come to La Habra and say, I want to come to La Habra for baseball. They'll get absolutely denied. They have to come to La Habra because of an academic program that we offer, which La Habra is a great school academically, which we offer that their home district doesn't offer. And that's how that works. The kind of idea that people could come to La Habra for baseball, they can't. It's not allowed. They have to come to La Habra for an academic program, and that's I think that's the way it should be. But yeah, you are able to from outside of the, that's something where I would love to build this program with. La Habra is kind of the way it sits with. We get some Whittier kids, and we get some obviously La Habra kids, and we get some La Mirada kids. But that's where I want to build from. The home area.
You have a good base right there.
Yeah, I mean it's a community with a tradition of baseball, as Nick knows.
Yeah. With your experience, this is a huge topic that I'm always involved in, because I coach a higher end in the club scene. I coach a collegiate program and a higher end club program. And through your years, can you describe the evolution of what you've seen in club baseball and how you feel it maybe has helped and then maybe has hurt in youth baseball?
Yeah, that's a great question, man. And I don't know. I'm so torn on this because I grew up in the community in La Mirada, and Little League baseball when I grew up was huge. We had a thriving pony and a thriving Little League in the 80s and the 90s, and it was competitive, like badass baseball. And as now, I had sons that went through Little League and La Mirada. It's not the same. In travel ball has drained, the Little Leagues. And I don't know if that was how travel ball was meant, like the purpose of it or not. I have a son who's a freshman at La Habra, and he's done travel ball since he's been about 10 or 11, and I've seen the benefits of it. I mean, he plays for TB SoCal now under a guy I trust named Benny Bonilla, and he's thrived, and he's gotten so much better, and he's got to experience some things that I never dreamed of doing when I was a 13, 14-year-old player, playing in the Junior Olympics and playing in huge tournaments and playing in front of college coaches at a very young age, which I think are huge benefits of good travel ball baseball. But I think the other negative side of it is, what it's done to our local little leagues and stuff like that. I mean, I hate to see that. And, I wish there was some kind of happy medium, but unfortunately, I don't see it going that way. I just see more and more families, wanting to play travel ball when it might not be the best thing for their particular son. But, I just, I definitely see the two ways, because I love the community aspect of going to your local little league, and there's nothing like it. I think we all experienced it,
Yeah.
and it's awesome, and the little leagues they're dying, man. It's tough.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because I mean I would attest, I think, for all of us, when that Little League World Series is on, we're all watching it.
No,
Right? I'm 51 years old and I'm taping them. I can't get enough of it.
yeah, yeah. I completely agree, but there's definitely some benefits to that high level travel ball. But I wish there was, and I don't know. I mean, you're probably, I don't know what the answer is to that, but it's
well,
tough.
my take is, what I do love about it is when I coach at the high school games, you'll see 2 or 3 of our guys go talking to 2 or 3 of their guys because they know each other, right?
Yeah.
So the camaraderie and the relationships that they've built, maybe starting at 12 years old, is really cool. Being in Arizona, I think they play too much.
Yeah.
I think they need a break. We talked about playing two-way sports, but I'm glad my son's a freshman in Nebraska playing ball, and I'm glad that they don't have the weather. So he's going to have an off season coming up during the holidays where they just are going to lift, get stronger. They're not going to be throwing anything, and build that body, get that rest, and then come back in the spring and get after it. So that's how I look at it. There's a little bit of money grab involved in some of the stuff too. And I'm with you. I mean, going to Lake Point and going to Kansas and, the great park at Irvine every now and then and playing those big events is amazing. It's a great opportunity for these kids. But every week, to me, it's too much.
No,
Yeah.
no, I agree. I think it's tough. But these parents and these kids, they always think they're going to miss out on something, where sometimes it's good to let your body rest, get away from it from a little bit,
Yeah, and so to piggyback on that, go to my next question. Last question was, so we got a kid that he's a late bloomer. He's 6'5", 220, probably has 94 under the hood. He's still working on it. Just when he takes the mound, everything stops, right? He's got that body. He's getting highly recruited because of that. These college coaches and recruiters, their first comment is he doesn't have a profile anywhere. He's got no perfect game profile. He's got no PBR profile. And so that's leading to my next question, the evolution of recruiting. Because when we played, and we're about a decade older than you, but we would get calls from the coaches at home. They would come to our games. This doesn't happen anymore. If why would they go to a high school game to watch 2 kids when they can go to a perfect game event and watch 100, right? So what have you seen in the last, let's say, 15 years, and maybe what I guess advice would you have for parents trying to get their kid to the next level? Because there's so many good schools out there that kids can play at the next level, get an education, and so what have you seen in the recruiting process?
No, I think you make a lot of good points there about how what travel baseball has done. It's kind of centralized everything, and it's given coaches a way to recruit, mass recruit, I guess would be the way. But I still think your high school coach plays a heavy role. I mean, I came from 2 previous schools, Glenn and Norwalk, where we didn't have a lot of travel ball kids. And I still think if your high school coach is respected and he has some connections, and he could pick up the phone call and be like, hey, look, I got a dude and you got to come watch him. And they'll come, they'll respect that. I think that's important. I know we had a kid last year, Matt Flores, who wasn't a big time travel ball kid. And he, by the end of our season last year, we had, 6 to 10 colleges at every one of his starts. And he ended up signing with the University of Hawaii. But there's other ways, but there's also, organizations that could help families out, but it does help, to be able to mention a name to the right person, if, play for the right organization but it's not the way it used to be, where there used to be bird dog scouts just going to a random game trying to look at some kids. It's just, you don't see that anymore, especially at the high school baseball field, unless it's a high profile kid, they're not around as much.
Yeah. I get that question a lot from parents, what advice would I give them in the recruiting process? And I think my number one answer is just get out of the way.
Yeah.
If I have Nick Siaka making a call for your kid with his reputation, same with Alex with his experience, 20 years as a head coach, our backgrounds, if we make a call and say, hey, this kid can play, you need a middle guy that he can play anywhere in the middle, short, second, center field. He's a teammate guy. He's a dugout guy. He's a great guy to have on campus. And, I look at some of these kids that have moved on that have played at some schools that are not cheap, and they're getting a lot of it paid for because they're okay to branch out and go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Where I grew up here in the Phoenix area, it's Arizona State, U of A, Grand Canyon. Where you guys grew up, it's UCLA and Pepperdine and Cal State Fullerton. Well, there's a whole bunch of schools out there, with good baseball. And so I always tell them a recruiter would rather talk to us than talk to dad.
Absolutely.
And just enjoy your kids' experience playing high school baseball.
No, and I love what you said about being open to go to another place. Getting out of state where, they're dying for California or West Coast kids. In different parts of the country. I think that kind of experience for a kid. Man, I would have loved to have went and played back east when I was, and that's something I didn't even think about. Kind of to your point, I wanted to play at a local Division I.
Sure.
Well, that's it for me, Al. What do you got?
All right, Coach, that was awesome. We want to thank you for joining us, and we'll definitely be keeping an eye on you and the Highlanders in the future. We appreciate it.
No, thank you guys. This is great, man. This is a lot of fun.
Really appreciate it. Thank you.
I love it. Love talking baseball.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Good luck. Have a great
Yeah,
year.
so we're going to have this on YouTube. We'll have it on the website, bloodlinesports.co. Nick, you want to give our socials?
Sure. You can find us on Instagram at Bloodline Sports AZ, on Twitter at Bloodline Sports, on TikTok at Bloodline Sports, and on YouTube at BSN Bloodline Sports Network.
Great. Thank you, Nick. Coach, thanks again. We appreciate it, and good luck to you.
No, thank you guys. Thank you.
Coach.
Awesome.
Go
Take
Highlanders.
care, Coach.
Yep. Thank you.